All right. Welcome back to 30-Minute Rivals with your boys. Over to the right is Johnny Olden Jr. Obviously,
So
make sure you check out his channel for college football takes for the guys up north. And then
mhm.
it's me, your favorite Buckeye fan, everybody's favorite Buckeye fan, Josh from A House Divided. Look, it's 30-minute rivals, but I'm gonna be honest with you. This one's probably not gonna make it 30 minutes, but it's because that's the way things are now. For whatever reason, nobody wants to do drills. It is what it
Exactly.
is. It is what it is. Speaking of which, is there anybody outside of Michigan or Ohio State that you're upset that didn't do any drills? I'm kind of upset Cam Ward didn't do any drills. I get it, but I kind of wanted to see him kind of do his thing.
You know those honestly not really. You know those dudes they got so much on the line
Yeah.
and their stock is already so high that they just feel, they feel like they can only hurt themselves by running and doing all that different stuff or throwing similar to your boy. You
We'll get there. We'll get there.
know
We'll
what I'm
talk
saying?
about it.
But
No,
yeah,
I get it. I think Cam Ward, especially with the way that some people feel about Shador being a little arrogant, Cam Ward might be poised to take the first quarterback position. So yeah, it kind of makes sense for neither one of them really to perform, but it just sucks we don't get the chance to kind of see them, you know.
yeah, nothing is how it used to be. It used to be the top quarterback, the lock guy. He might not do anything, but everybody else was trying to, you know, do something to take his spot at the combine. So now it's just like a lot of these dudes feel like they don't have anything to prove.
Yeah. Yeah, that's factual. Then obviously you got some guys who sit out because of injury, which kind of leads me into my first guy I want to talk about. Since you're the guest, we'll talk about Michigan first. Colston Loveland showed up, did his measurements. I think people were happy about his size as a tight
Yeah, he's a
end.
freak.
Yeah, absolutely. But at the same time, Tyler Warren's also on the board, so what do you think? Do you think Tyler Warren still gets the nod above him, or can Colston Loveland make it before Tyler Warren on the board?
Well, with the injuries, with Colston, what he said he should be ready for training camp, but
Yeah.
his measurables were good. The combine's a meat market. That's what
Mm-hmm.
it is. It's all
Absolutely.
about how big are your hands, how long are your arms, how tall are you. And Colston Loveland, it helped him because his arms are really long, longer than Warren's, and he's I think they said an inch taller than Warren. So his
Mm-hmm.
measurables got his stock up, even though he didn't perform. So somebody just had to fall in love with him, or it'll be a team that likes Michigan players like a New England or a Cincinnati or a Baltimore or somebody like that.
Yeah. Okay. That's fair. So Mason Graham is also a pretty much a top probably 5 pick in the draft. But obviously he didn't perform either. I think for him again, he's so high up that it's like it's not a good chance that he's going to drop as far as his stock. Plus, I mean, there's not a lot of interior defensive linemen that are going to go that early. I think there's a lot in the class, but they're not going to go that early. He's got the tape to prove that he's that guy.
Yeah, he's got the tape. But what they're saying on him is his stocks went down a little bit because he weighed in at 296. So
Okay,
they're saying
that's a little light, isn't it?
exactly. So that's what
Okay,
they're saying.
okay,
Like you kind of you looking a little lighter than you were. So they knocked him for that. But besides that, he's kind of locked into that top 10 probably.
yeah, I would agree. Now, Will Johnson not coming through and performing, I think probably hurt him a little bit for
Yeah.
the simple fact that some of these guys are out here doing, 4.4 and less for the 40 times. So they're looking extremely fast. And I think for him to kind of stay in that elite, hopefully top 10, top 15, he probably needed to perform. But again, obviously, things prevented him from being able to. But yeah, him not performing kind of hurt his.
It hurt him. It hurt him a little bit because people did want to see that 40 because we know he can cover, but what's that speed like? Because every year he's got injured and he's played with injuries also. Like against Marv last year, that was last year. Well, 2 years ago, I guess now. He was injured. Like, he played, he got a pick, but he was still had nagging injuries. It wasn't the full him. And I think he got surgery that offseason. Like every offseason, he's probably had to get a surgery. So people wanted to see that, okay, healthy top speed, but he's still nursing something. And then they also knocked him for his arm length, I believe. They said his arm length was a little short for his height.
He got T-Rex arms.
His arms seem pretty long, but they say his arms are a little short for his height, So they knocked him for that also. So they knocked him a little bit for the 40 and his arm length.
Okay. Now, obviously,
our top dudes didn't have a good combine. I mean, they didn't do nothing, but
they didn't do anything. I mean, you got Kenneth Grant, you got Kalel Mullings, Josiah Stewart didn't perform. So yeah, I mean, it kind of sucks because you kind of want to see these guys, especially the guys who are not specifically the top 5, top 10 guys. You want to see them perform their way into maybe even a higher spot.
Kenneth Grant, they knocked him because of he didn't perform, and he was a dude that he needed to. We've seen his tape, but if he would have showcased that freakish speed, like an athleticism that he's shown us, the combine was really for a dude like him that was gonna probably light it up. So that knocked him because he couldn't showcase it. Josiah Stewart, top edge rusher for us, they knocked him because he's got a nagging injury, and he's the shortest edge rusher in the draft.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So they wanted to see him perform, because you're undersized.
Yeah.
So that dinged him. And what's the last player? Miles Hinton.
Miles Hinton, okay, yeah.
His arm, he had a pretty good one. His stock went up because his arms are longer, and he's got a ton of tape, pretty good tape. But his arms are a little bit longer, so his stock went up from the long arms.
From the wingspan.
Get you a boost in stock.
Right. So obviously I want to talk about Donovan Edwards, who actually ended up showing up pretty well, despite the lackluster year that he's had, unfortunately.
You ain't lying.
He definitely showed up, and I think he had a 4.4. I think he had a 4.4 flat.
Came up with a 4.4, 23 reps on the bench press.
I was gonna say the bench press impressed me a little bit more. And so amongst all of the running backs, and especially the speedy running backs that we've had in this combine, for him to kind of show up and show out during his combine is a good story for Michigan for sure.
Yeah, his cone drills, he needed it. So I think he knew coming in, like, I need this. Like Kenneth Grant, Mason Graham, Will Johnson, even Josiah Stewart to an extent. Those good dudes didn't have much to prove because their tape is so good, But Donovan, you got a lot to prove. So I think he came into the combine like, I better do something or I might not get drafted.
Right. Now, Kalel Mullings didn't perform, so do you think this gets him over Kalel, or it's still like third round for Donovan Edwards?
I think he's still going to be a lower round pick. Kalel Mullings is a stud, but people will fall in love with a dude like Donovan Edwards because we didn't use him right this year at all. So that could happen. But Kalel Mullings he's kind of a plug and play kind of dude, especially if you got another back. Like he's the prototypical running back. He's big, good speed, pass block, can catch out of the backfield. Like He's a 3-down back for the most part. So
for sure, definitely
he
versatile.
he did hurt himself not showcasing some of his
Randomly
skills.
too, is he hurt?
It seems like every player we had was hurt.
But I didn't know Khalil. Like I thought he would have probably. I mean, I guess not.
Yeah, I would have thought that either. I didn't know he got invited to the combine.
Yeah. I guess with how deep running back is for this class, maybe it would have helped, and he probably thought it wouldn't. I don't know.
Yeah, I think if you're a lower level guy, I think you got to come into there like I got to prove it. I'm trying to showcase my agility, showcase my speed, showcase my technique, everything. So I don't get it with some of these dudes unless you're actually really hurt and can't perform.
Yeah, for sure. All right, I guess we can move on to the Buckeyes, which I'm saving the best for last. Can we just hold off on the Will Howard conversation until last? I think we could do that.
I ain't saying that.
Yikes. Okay. Stop. You talk about me and my smile. Look at you smiling from ear to ear right now. That's insane. That is insane. Like we're gonna talk about what do you mean? What do I mean? You happy as hell that something might have happened. Anyway, point is we're gonna start off with Donovan Jackson. Who didn't do the 40s. I mean, some of those things aren't linemen don't need to do 40s. It's not all that needed unless you're fast out of nowhere. But he did a couple of drills, but then it also kind of seemed like he was a little bit injured, like he was maybe a little bit banged up still. And so I think I saw him getting taped up in one of the clips. But I hope he sneaks into the first round. I think he's got the talent enough to do that. I think he's versatile enough on the offensive line, and yeah, I think he can possibly sneak. I think some mock drafts had him like literally 31, but
I saw his stock going up from the combine.
Yeah, I think if he can sneak into the first round, that'll be a good look for him for sure. Like we said, running backs very deep, very fast class. Travion Henderson and Quinshon Judkins performed pretty well. I think Travion just out-edged Donovan just a little bit. You know how to throw that in there. Out-edged him just a little bit. I think actually he had the 4.4 flat, and I think Donovan Edwards might have had like a 4.43 or something like that.
Yeah, 4.45, I think.
Something like that. So slight edge, but he still beat Quinshon. Quinshon had a 4.8, which is not bad, but you want to see him do a little bit better. But he did do well. I think in the broad jump, he had the best broad jump out of all of them. Yeah. And then they both came in at like 38.5 on the vertical jump. So, I mean, all in all, they did pretty well as far as showing off their athleticism. And I think some of the things that you catch on tape specifically from this season will help their stock rise, especially things like blocking and, obviously the home run ability of Travion and the spin move that we've yet to see from Quinshon.
Doesn't exist.
With all of these intangibles, I think they can definitely make their way up the draft list. Hopefully,
So, those dudes they're good. I mean, I think Quinshon had the highest rated agility score or whatever they call it.
Mm-hmm.
Altogether, he's a stud. Travion, he came out and had a more complete year. He looked like a complete back this year.
He played the whole year.
Exactly.
That in and of itself is great.
So but he didn't have as much on his shoulders also. So that helped, but that helped. You need that. That's a good thing.
Yeah. Oh no, for sure. When I look at the offensive line as well, obviously I just talked about Donovan Jackson, but I look at Josh Simmons and Seth McLaughlin, who have obviously suffered injuries pretty late in the season. And so still some of them dealing with some of that, but I feel like I see that Josh Simmons is rightfully placed. And I feel like a lot of people are giving Seth McLaughlin a little bit of flack. And I don't know if that's coming from the Achilles injury or I don't exactly know where that's coming from. It kind of seems like maybe his stock is dropping, but I'm not sure where that's coming from.
Is he back? Is he he's still
he's not actually actually performing yet, but just wanted to I guess mention the fact that it seems like Seth McLaughlin is low on boards and he's still a solid center, so I don't know where that's coming from necessarily, but maybe somebody in the comments will inform us where that may be coming from.
That Michigan Bama tape.
I don't think it's that. I think honestly, I think it may be coming from the Achilles injury, or maybe
that's hoping.
Yeah. I mean, that is an injury that's like a little worrisome, but at the same time, everything else leads me to believe that he's an intelligent, like football intelligent, like he knows ball. He makes quick decisions. He can. I've seen him get blown off the line at times, but like it's not a concern. Like it don't happen that much. And yes, in the Michigan game, he fumbled the ball a couple times, but again, that also didn't happen very often throughout his career. So I don't know that those are concerns, but maybe they feel that way. I don't know. Let's see. Yeah, a lot of guys unfortunately just didn't perform. I would have loved to seen, some JT action, some Tyleik Williams.
JT didn't perform?
Not that I saw. I couldn't find anything on JT performing.
That's pretty weird. Seemed like he would have killed it out there, Slick.
I would have hoped, but I haven't seen anything. I haven't seen anything on Denzel Burke, who
I seen Jack.
I see him out there. Yep. But the only other notes that I have are for Emeka Egbuka, who also didn't perform. But he did actually, first of all, he met up with some teams, obviously, like they do. Bengals, Steelers. Seems like there's some teams that are actively interested. But the thing that I was most impressed about and most noteworthy for me is his knowledge of previous Buckeye receivers. This man was literally killing it as he was creating the perfect Buckeye wide receiver. Like they were talking about, well, what strength would you want? He mentioned David Boston. I'm like, you're not even old enough to even. Okay, I mean, if you know the receivers like that, by all means. So I was kind of proud of that. I was like, okay, he knows his stuff. Like I like that.
Yeah. Don't forget what Woodson did to David Boston either, Mecca.
Don't forget I don't know what you're talking about. So, anyways, moving forward, I guess we got to talk about it now because it's here. Will Howard performed and he threw okay. I want to say this before I talk about it. He was not the worst quarterback out there. And I don't know where this narrative is coming. Well, actually, I know exactly where it's coming from. It's coming from you guys. He was not the worst quarterback.
I posted the video of him throwing, and I put a little of the weekend behind it.
It's coming from Teton. It's coming from the team up north. They're the ones who are promoting this narrative that he was the worst quarterback. Okay, he was the worst. Dillon Gabriel by far.
Really? I didn't see it. I haven't seen that anywhere.
Dillon Gabriel's like take the 1 or 2 deep balls that you saw from Will Howard and multiply it by like 3 at least.
Really?
He had a couple of deep balls that he missed. He had a couple of like outside, like 10-yard out routes that he missed. Like it was bad. It was like, this is not the Dillon Gabriel I saw at Oregon. It was pretty bad.
I just seen Will Howard
Will Howard
everything.
No, he underthrew one, but the guy caught it. We can count that.
I guess.
Look,
it was just somebody clipped all of them up, and it was missed the post high, missed the corner route high, missing a dig behind. It was deep ball too far.
He's editing, making all the worst passes.
It was a great edit.
Passes in that. It was a terrible edit. No, I think Shedeur Sanders is right to a little bit of a sense that these are not his receivers and these are not the guys that he is comfortable with and is going to be comfortable with. So, like, while that's not the end all be all, he should be a good enough quarterback to complete passes to anybody.
True.
He don't know these guys, and at some level, we can give him that. But Jackson Dart looked too good for me to give him that much of an excuse. I can't give him that much of an excuse
because a lot of it is just football. Like playing quarterback is what do you call it? Geometry.
Yeah,
the angles, distance, speed. All it is really you being able to calculate how hard and how fast do you throw the ball against how fast the guy's running. That's all it really is. And some dudes just don't. I don't know, But you take this with a grain of salt.
Yeah, sure.
All jokes aside, you take this with a grain of salt. Yeah, it was funny. Yeah, I had a good laugh.
I hate this.
I had a good laugh, but
I'm sure you did.
This don't mean he can't be a good NFL quarterback or he shouldn't get drafted or something. But it was a knee slapper.
Sure, I guess I'll give you that. But at the same time, I will say again, probably should have performed a little bit better as a quarterback who's going to have to throw to many different receivers and get used to new receivers all the time. It's not college football where you get used to the same 3 receivers. It's not Ohio State where you get Jeremiah Smith and Emeka Egbuka and Carnell Tate. So you kind of got to show off a little bit if you're going to become an NFL quarterback, especially a starting quarterback. Like,
do you
right
expect
now, go ahead.
What do you expect from him? Like
in the NFL?
Yeah. Do you expect him to be a backup, a third string, the guy in waiting?
It looks like backup. To be completely honest with you, as a
career
right
backup,
now, it looks like backup, and hopefully he gets his shot to get in the game and then prove himself, and then that's how he becomes a starter. But that's what it looks like right now. I mean, especially after that showing. I think with a solid pro day and, again, maybe if he seizes some opportunities, he could look like that guy, but it don't look like that way right now.
Yeah, that hurt him. He's one of those other guys that, you had a good season, but your stock isn't high enough. You need to perform. Like you would have performed because the pro day, the pro day helps, but you're familiar with those guys. You know what I'm saying? The combine is more of a raw talent quarterback. Let's see what you got. You put on a show right then it becomes impressive. Man, Will Howard put on a show. So he did need that to really boost him up. He needed that one because a lot of people don't give him credit for Ohio State. They say he had all this talent around him.
That's the narrative. That's the narrative. Yeah. You had Jeremiah Smith. You had Emeka Egbuka. You had Carnell Tate. You had Travion. You had Quinshawn. You had G. Scott. You had all these guys. So, I mean, that's the narrative, and that's what you're going to have to fight against. And as of right now, it doesn't look like he can escape that without, obviously, the pro day where he's going to have those guys again. So,
yeah. He's going to have to put on the show at the pro day, because people, even though he played well, like he went on a run. He got hot in the playoff. He got hot, But the thing about that is most starting quarterbacks can get hot and go on a run. It's just, okay, it happened in the playoffs. That was your run. You got hot in the playoffs at the right time. We've seen Eli Manning get scorching hot in the playoffs and win 2 Super Bowls, basically, But year to year, Eli was slick boo-boo. Yeah, you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's the risk with that. Like, and that's why people are looking at him like that, even though he did win a national championship.
And I want to give him grace with the fact that his tape probably looks pretty good as well. But then there were some bonehead moves. There were some turnovers that were pretty costly. And so the tape is a double-edged sword at that point. So, honestly, I would say it looks like backup, but let's hope. Let's hope he can fight his way out of this and become the next Tom Brady. Become the first Will Howard.
That was crazy what you just did.
Let's hope.
That was crazy. No.
Fingers crossed. I can't have Tom Brady continue to be the GOAT anymore. That's why I've been rooting for Patrick Mahomes. A Michigan man be the best quarterback in the NFL? No. Absolutely not. It's true now. Yeah. Patrick Mahomes is gonna come back. He gonna do his thing.
He ain't gonna catch us. He ain't gonna catch him. You see, it's already starting to fall apart.
He got what, 3?
Who?
Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah. You got 4 more to get.
Okay. He's young.
Do we need him to pass him then? That's 5.
Not only is he young, but Tom Brady played till he was over 40. I think Patrick Mahomes has even more of a reason to play till he's over 40. Who wants to be with his wife?
Oh, wow. The wife that caught a stray.
Yes. Who likes her? Who wants to be around her? He wants to play football and get more rings and stay away from her, I'm sure.
Okay.
I would.
Hey, I mean, you got a long way to go to catch the GOAT, but hey, anything is possible.
Hashtag not my GOAT. Anyway, any other thoughts? Any other thoughts on the combine at all?
It's just a little disappointing the way it is now.
Yeah.
You know, you see guys that you don't really know that much, and they go out there and do something amazing, run a 4.3, 4.29 or something like that. But you know, sometimes you want to see the guys that you've known, especially those stars on your team. You want to see them go out there and compete and, you know, put up numbers, or at least give an effort to put up numbers, you know. So it's a little disappointing what's going on with the draft now, but I guess that's everything now. The older we get, the more stuff changes.
Especially in college football, especially the way it's doing it right now. Everything's changing really quickly, but so it'll be, I guess. All right. Well, on that note, we came in at 26 minutes, actually. So, hey, pretty damn close.
Yes,
like we said before, make sure you go over to Johnny's page where he talks about Michigan Wolverines, recaps games, spring games coming up. I'm sure he's going to have a recap for the spring game.
Yes, sir.
You know, all that good stuff. Make sure you all go over there and check him out. And then obviously make sure y'all subscribe to House Divided, where we talk about the rivalry, Buckeyes, the Wolverines, all that good stuff. And on that note, we are out. Peace.
Go Blue.
Go Bucks.